Hello everyone. Today we'll be looking at this position. It is white to move and win. Yes, surprisingly win with the knight hanging and the bishop is hanging. So you can pause the video and try to find the move on your own and the right idea, not only the first move, because the first move is easy, but you need to find the whole idea behind this puzzle or composition. Okay, pause the video and try to find the move on your own before we dive into it. Alright, so we obviously cannot capture this bishop because our knight will be hanging and black will be able to promote to a queen. So the first move that most of you saw, it is knight to d3 check. So, saving our knight, giving a check and trying to win the pawn. But what would you do here after king to b5? Black played king to b5 to defend the bishop that was hanging before, and some of you might say, well, obviously we want to capture this pawn on f2. So what do? We don't want to hang the bishop. So we take the bishop first, and after black takes, we take this knight, and this gotta be winning. No, two knights can never checkmate the king. You can't do that, okay? It's impossible. So we cannot do this. The first move, yes, that is correct, knight to d3 check. But after king to b5, we cannot capture the bishop because we need the bishop. Why do we need the bishop? Because bishop and a knight and a king are sufficient enough to checkmate the enemy king. But two knights are impossible to do this. So we need the bishop to stay alive. How can we do this? So where would we put the bishop? Some of you might say, well, bishop a2, bishop here, bishop here, bishop here, bishop here. Which one is good? That was surprising to see, actually, which one is good, because I thought this is completely hopeless. I mean, the bishop, whatever it goes, it's not going to be good. Because let's say, for example, you played like bishop to a2. Here, what black will do, will promote to a queen. Yes, willingly giving up the pawn, because after we take his queen, black will be able to play a check on d1. It doesn't matter where we go. Let's say, for example, we play king g3. Black will be able to play bishop to e2, and we can't save both of these two knights. We can't. This is the only way that, if the knight was here, then yes, they are protected. But like this, we're going to lose one of the knights. So even if we play, like, for example, knight e3 is going to capture here. A yes and the knight and the bishop are sufficient to checkmate the king, but not with an enemy bishop. That's why this position is still a draw. So it is not bishop to a2. Let's see bishop to d5. What is up with bishop to d5? Well, the same thing. He can promote to a queen. We take, check, king here, for example, bishop there, and he's going to win one of these two knights. It seems impossible. Like, what can we do to save them? Well, there's only one idea. It is a brilliant idea to try to save everything. That is to move the bishop to e6. What is the goal of e6? Well, black can still do the same thing. Promote to a queen. We capture. He plays a check. But here, just like before, we play king to g3. This is the only way to win this. Now we're going to see why. After king to g3, black plays this bishop to e2 move and thinking he's going to win one of the knights. But there's a problem for black. The reason we put the bishop on e6 and the king on g3 is beyond brilliant. We're going to save this knight on d3. We're going to play knight to b2. And black thinks, oh, this is just a free knight. No, it is not. The goal of putting the bishop here is to defend the square on h3. The goal of putting the king on g3 is to play king to f2, protecting these two squares. The bishop is holding this square. The knight is controlling this one, and the knight and the bishop are controlling the c4 square. The bishop is hanging and cannot be saved. Black will play something like king c5 or whatever we take here, and this is a winning endgame. Some of you might say, well, hold on, isn't there a way for, black just moves the king or something? Because if black moves the king, and we do, for example, capture this pawn, is this still winning? Yes, it is winning, but it's a little bit complicated. And sorry to tell you this, but it's not that. I mean, look, on the engine, it says like +2, for example, okay? Because this position, it is equal. We're going to just try to find a way to fork the king and bishop, or to try to get the knight super close, to give one of the knights for the bishop, and then maintaining a bishop and knight and a king to checkmate the enemy king. But the most important thing, that we don't trade this bishop for this one, because the second we do that, it's going to be a draw. But we'll try to give up one of these two knights, one of them, to try to capture this bishop on a4, and then that would be a winning endgame. Thank you for watching.